Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Today I am participating in a YouTube and Instagram hop called Oh Baby, and I have chosen to go ahead and document something, actually one of the photos of my grandson when he was much smaller, well, not much smaller, since he's only 21 months, he can't be much smaller, but this is when before he was walking and everything. So I just thought this was a super cute picture and I wanted to use it. He just gets this little gleam in his eye, so I thought it would be really cute to capture it. So I decided I want to do something a little bit different and have him peeking through the paper. So I started with that purple paper and I created a border around the gray paper that I'm going to use. And I gutted that purple paper, not just because I want to use it later, but because I'm going to use it on this layout. I'm trying to find the center of the layout, or more or less the center of where I want his face, because I want him bold and center. But the photo is not going to be on the top of the layout, it's going to be on the back side, and then it's going to have a peekaboo little window here. Well, you'll see as it comes along. But I am just cutting open this little piece here, and as you see me pull the paper back, you can see the back side of that gray paper, which has all of the astronomy type of stuff on it, and I don't want that to be visible on my layout. I want more of that purple. So what I did was I gutted the purple, and this is the gutted piece, and I am flipping that over the opposite direction from the gutted piece. And so all of those like circle graph type things are going to be face up, but then when I pull the pieces through, you'll see the purple. So that's how I got that look. You can do this with a double-sided piece of pattern paper if you like both sides. You don't have to kind of rig it up to show the color that you want through, but because I didn't want either of the back sides of these two papers to show, I just wanted the purple and the gray. I decided this was the best way to do it, and I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but this is what I thought would work the best. Now I am trimming off some excess pieces of the purple. I will use those in other areas on other layouts. I just keep my scraps like that, and I didn't see the need to have all the extra paper on the back. And I am going to tuck the pointed edge of each of those papers down, and I'm just going to staple them back. I didn't really put any adhesive to hold those papers back. I just used the staples, and I think it works fine. And I like the added texture that it gives. I don't do this on a lot of layouts, just simply because it does add a lot of height to your layouts, and when it gets into your album would be really thick if you did this all the time. But I do it here and there on occasion. And what I'm doing with the pencil there is I kind of had a fold in the purple paper, and I wanted to pop it out so it's more like a roll. So I just stuck my pencil in there to take that fold out of it. And I am gluing back a couple of the little edges of the purple paper. I'm gluing it to the back side of the gray paper so that it doesn't like fold back in on itself, and then you can see those little black pieces or corners again from the back side of the gray paper. I hope that made some sense. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on adhering his picture, and I added that black paper because he's off center in the photo, and I wanted him a little more centered in the middle of that little window. And so I had to add the black paper so that I had somewhere to add adhesive so that it would stay on the back side. Otherwise, the edge of the photo would have been flush with the inside of this frame that I'm kind of building. And I did stretch that top piece up a little bit higher just so that the window's a little bit taller, and I like how that looks a little bit better. And I'm tucking these two corners opposite each other in, and I am stapling those just to add a little continuity with the staples. and a little interest in the corners. And then I am using a bunch of stuff from different Shamel collections, and if you know me, I use a lot of her stuff on his layouts. I've gone through everything and pulled out a bunch of purpley, pinkish kind of stuff that I think would match. You can see a pile there at the top of the screen, and then you can also see a pile to the right there where it has that camera paper, and there's a bunch of stuff underneath there, and those all have kind of like this color scheme in one area or another on them. So I'm kind of picking and choosing what I want. And now I decide I'm going to have my title be Hello Baby, and that purple Hello die cut has been in my stash for a long time. And I believe it is from Shamel's Little by Little, but I couldn't swear to it. So anyway, don't quote me on that, but I believe that's where it's from. And then on there's a piece of paper in Never Grow Up that has the alphabet on it, and I am cutting out the letters for baby, and the Y was a color that I didn't want, and I don't remember if it was yellow or green. So what I did was I used the H upside down for the Y because it was the right color. And on the layout you can't tell at all. Of course, if you were to look at the paper, you'd know it wasn't the Y, it was the H, because the Y has, you know, the little bend at the bottom of it, and this just goes straight down. But it works for this layout, and I like how it looks, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And then I am just building 3 clusters around his photo. So one on the upper right, one on the lower left, and one on the upper left. And this is not like a normal layout for me. A lot of times I tuck things under, and these are definitely not tucked under. In fact, almost all of these embellishments are going to be raised onto foam, and that is simply because there is so much texture and raised bits with the paper curled over like that. If I put it flat, it really kind of just, everything sunk to the back, and it didn't have as much appeal. So I decided to raise everything up. And I am inking most things with this Prima ink, and it's called Sangria. And it's like the perfect pairing for this purple paper. And it's going to help that Hello pop just a little bit, because that is such a soft purple on top of that soft gray that it didn't have a ton of dimension to it even when it was popped up. So adding that little bit of inking really helped it kind of like show up so it doesn't fade into the background. Now there's this little border strip that is from Sparkle City, and I've been having this issue lately that I feel like a lot of the stickers or die cuts have a really big white halo around them, and I don't mind some halo, but some of these have huge bits of halo on them, and so I'm just trimming off the excess white part. And I like how it looks a lot better, because I mean, it still has like, I don't know, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch, but some of them feel like they have like an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch of white around the outside of each piece. And I'm just using plain old Fun Foam. I just cut it into long strips, and it is adhesive backed, so one side is adhesive, and I put that part on the die cut, and then I use liquid glue to adhere the whole thing onto the background, and that's what works for me. Some people might do it differently, where they use the adhesive part to stick it down to the paper, and that, I don't know, this works for me. I haven't had any problems with anything falling off, and you will see me take my acrylic block and set it on top of things as they dry, because I feel like sometimes things just need a little bit of added extra pressure just for the first couple of minutes while it's getting stuck down to the layout. And I am using the Tonic Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And that stuff dries fairly quickly, so that isn't an issue. And you don't have to use a ton of it because it holds really well. And these stickers actually were holding pretty well, but I went ahead and pulled those off because I need to pop those up as well. And I decided to use that border piece. I'm cutting it up into little sections, so it's going to underline the title and just give it a shelf to live on. And then I will use it in the other two areas as well, as another shelf, and then just as some added interest. Okay, while I add some of these embellishments, let me tell you a little bit about the hop. There are a bunch of people playing along, and I'm not sure if this was started by Moira or Christy. I do know that Kristen Burkhart Carlson is the one that had the idea for this hop, and so thank you so much, Kristen, for suggesting this. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed playing along. This hop is about everything baby. So it's supposed to be baby themed layouts. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a child baby, like an infant baby. It could be a pet baby, one of your fur babies maybe. Even a lot of people, a lot of men especially, might think that their hot rod in the garage is their baby. So maybe somebody's documenting something like that. You got to think out of the box when it comes to a lot of these things, because especially when you're doing like a class or a prompt that somebody has given you, think out of the box, because there's a lot of different ways to look at things. You don't necessarily have to go with the first thing that comes to mind, and you don't have to go with the obvious choice. I certainly did go with the obvious choice here. Now, he's not my baby, he's my daughter's baby, and I consider my daughter my baby, but I didn't necessarily have to go with that as my option. But because I am working on his album, it was the obvious choice for me. But I'm really curious to see what everyone else has chosen for their layouts. So I am going to go and check them out as well, and all of their links are going to be down below in my description box. So I highly encourage you to go and check out their layouts as well and see what they have come up with, and leave them a little bit of love. If you are not a subscriber, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit the like button on this video if you've enjoyed it. And let me go back to telling you a little bit about the layout. So I'm still inking stuff up. I am picking out some words that I think work. That the little purple one above the camera says far out, and then right below that the other one says anything's possible. And I just thought it paired up well with the little banner flags that are hanging down that say dance it up, up and at 'em, go big or go home. So I just thought they worked well together, and they are all pretty much the right color. There is kind of that navy blue banner in the middle over there, but there are some bits and pieces like that in the other layouts as well, or the other layouts, the other embellishment areas. So the word wonder is the same color, and then the little camera in the, I'm going to add a little camera in the upper left hand corner that has that same navy blue, and then the little piece that says make your dreams real. The text of that is also that navy blue, so it pulls it into all of the areas, and so I thought that worked well. And one of the reasons that I chose the paper that I chose was his bedding and his sleep sack that he's wearing. They all have like white and gray, so the paper was a perfect fit, and I just needed an additional color to go with that. And I chose the purple because the photo looked really good on the purple as well, and I couldn't decide between putting his photo with the purple as the background or the gray as the background. And then I toyed with the idea of splitting the background in half and having half purple and half gray, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something totally different. And so this is what I came up with. And now I'm using a little rub-on from Sparkle City, and this rub-on was a little bit hard to get on, which was really weird because it's not that old. And I've had ones that are much older that go on a lot better, so I'm not sure what the deal is on that. But they have been stored in their packaging, and I have no idea why it was giving me such a problem. Now I have had rub-ons that are worse as well, but I've had ones that you barely even touch it to the paper and it comes off. So somewhere in between would be really nice. If the manufacturers could get that down, that would be awesome. Now I did put a hashtag above the hello baby, and I thought that was fitting because we are doing this is a YouTube and Instagram hop, and so the hashtag, I thought that was kind of fitting, even though when you go look at the layout in the album, you're not going to know that. But, you know, I figured, you know what, I'm just going to put it on there anyway. It is the age of the hashtag anyway, so it works. And there's that little camera, and it is going to end up where it is right now. And I'm just going to add another piece of this border strip right above it. Now those border strips, I did not raise those up onto foam. I just stuck those directly on the paper, and you saw right there that I added some liquid adhesive. And I am not checking to see that everything is straight except for those border strips and the title. I'm not really worried about all of the other pieces, but because the border strips go across the length of the page or the width of the page, I didn't want them to look wonky, like they were tipped one way or the other, and I wanted to make sure my title was straight. And now what am I doing? I am adding a little bow to this tag that says love on it, and that is purple and white baker's twine, which goes perfectly with everything else. And then I am just adding a little bit of liquid adhesive to the center of the bow so it doesn't come untied, and I think that should hold it without any problem. And I did go back and forth with where I was going to put that little tiny camera, but like I said before, it ends up in that little spot. I just thought it needed a little bit more of that navy blue up there, so that's why it's up there. And then I'm going to finish off the layout with a couple more of those border strips. I'm just trying to decide where to put them. And I do put one above Wonder and one above Far Out, and I think that looks good. I am going to also finish up things with some sequins, and the sequins are from Spiegel Mom Scraps, but I don't know the name of the package of them because I do get these. I get them in my Creative Cuts kits, and I have some from other collections that I've ordered through Christina and the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and I don't think all of them have names on them when they are just like a mini pack of sequins, so I don't have a name for you on that. And I am sprinkling a little bit of silver Mr. Huey's on there, and I thought that silver worked well because it goes well with the gray, and there's silver foil, holographic foil on those words, and I like how that looks. And that's pretty much going to take us to the end of this layout. I'm just adding a few of these sequins in purple just to finish things off. And I'm not adding any journaling. I will leave the journaling spot in that circle piece that's in the bottom left-hand corner of the photo, and my daughter will fill that out when she is over and going through his layouts and putting them into his album. So I'm just creating them, and then she does the majority of the documenting, and then they get put in the layout, and that's pretty much going to do it. So go over and check out all the other ladies that are playing along. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the time that you guys take making comments and stuff, and I will get back to those as quickly as I can. The close-ups are coming up. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.